Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at the 10 fan-made horror games that may keep you up at night.
Please remember to stay inside the evacuation shelters until the facility has been secured.
For this list, we're looking at horror games made by fans across not just gaming, but movies and television as well. Have you checked out any of these games for yourself? Let us know down in the comments. Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Resident Evil Remake. Ever wondered what a Resident Evil game would look like if it were made for an old piece of hardware like, say, an NES or a Famicom? That is precisely what Resident Evil Remake is. Made in RPG Maker, relive the events of the very first game in the style of an old-school NES game with a top-down perspective and 8-bit graphics. Even though you no longer feel the overwhelming presence of Spencer Mansion, the layout is more or less the same. The only difference here are the controls, so if you're already familiar with the original game, you may not struggle too much playing this. Bloodborne PSX. We promise that not every single entry is going to be a demake, but we absolutely should talk about Bloodborne PSX. For as gorgeously grotesque as the real Bloodborne can get, there was a part of us that wondered if the same fear and tension could be applied on a console like the original PlayStation. Bloodborne PSX gives us a glimpse into that alternate timeline. Not only does it perfectly replicate the look and feel of a PS1 horror game, but the imposed technical limitations like the limited draw distance add to the suspense. If you loved the 2015 original, you should definitely check out this fan remake.
You'll be one of them, sooner or later.
Terrordrome, Rise of the Boogeymen. We've often explored this idea of having our most terrifying and bloodthirsty horror movie characters go head-to-head in a brawl to death. Of course, licensing deals become a massive headache to make such a thing happen. In the realm of fan games, well, to hell with legality. Why shouldn't we get something like Terrordrome? Take control of characters like Freddy Krueger, Ash Williams, Leatherface, and more in a fighting game in the same vein as Mortal Kombat. It's bloody, it's vicious, and it's everything we could have dreamed of. Fallout 4 Pilgrim. Admittedly, this is a mod and not really much of a fan game. However, this mod makes Fallout 4 so different that it basically is an entirely different game. Fallout 4 Pilgrim messes with the lighting, atmosphere, and weather in a way that turns Fallout 4 into a horror title. As most of us know, there are plenty of other mods that introduce all kinds of terrifying enemies in the game. So when you pair Pilgrim up with those kinds of mods, Fallout 4 quickly becomes the most terrifying experience we have seen from the IP. Halloween 1. While Texas Chainsaw, Friday the 13th, and now Killer Clowns are enjoying their own video game adaptations, Michael Myers awaits in the shadows for a game of his own. Luckily, Damian Gonzalez has something unique and frightening for Halloween fans. Halloween 1 is a two-parter game where you take control of a babysitter and slowly find that you are being stalked by the Shape himself. Though the animations are a bit crude, it still manages to deliver an impressive demo in Michael's AI, the sound design, and lighting. Of all the games on this list, this is my personal favorite right here. I love Halloween. Courage, the video game. Surprisingly, just about every other Cartoon Network show except Courage the Cowardly Dog got their own video game. The pup was always mashed in with other IPs, but what if he did get a game of his own? Well, PS1 horror was strong during the show's run between 1999 and 2002, and this fan game evokes that same feeling of eerie, stomach-churning disturbance without much effort. To make the game just as surreal and absurd as the show, some segments of the game straight up require manipulating the game's files to progress into the next oddity. Can you save Courage from the virtual nightmare? Aftonbuilt. Now, we have seen an endless sea of Five Nights at Freddy's fan games. There's a ton of them. A simple Google search will flood you with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. But the most impressive FNAF fan game we've seen is Aftonbuilt. A game surprisingly rejected by the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative. You take control of a rogue mechanic who retrieves Afton's body from the Fazbear Fright's fire, and now you must rebuild him. Scour the abandoned junkyard for parts by confronting the beastly animatronics roaming the place. Not enough horror games make you face your fears without turning into an action game, and that's what makes Aftonbuilt such a unique game, especially in the FNAF franchise. Really, why wasn't this game accepted? Like, it's awesome, man. SCP Containment Breach.
Hey, they've got some work for you. Do me a favor and step out of your cell. Just follow me.
Surely most of you have heard about SCP Containment Breach thanks to the dozens upon dozens of content creators who played the game to death throughout the 2010s. Based on the various entries submitted by the SCP Foundation community, Containment Breach thrusts you into the mysterious and disturbing SCP Foundation ward. What has people still coming back to this fan game all these years later is the use of procedural generation, ensuring that no playthrough is the same as the last. So many more SCPs have been added since initial development that there are many more reasons to play today, whether it's your first time or your 100th.
Human, listen carefully. You need my help. I need your help.
Earthbound Halloween hack. Earthbound already has some messed up stuff going on with its story and characters, but this fan game designed by Toby Fox, yes, that Toby Fox, the one who made Undertale, cranks up the dark narrative to 100. Earthbound Halloween hack takes place in an alternate timeline where Ness fails to return to Onett after defeating Gygus. We don't want to give away too much of the game, but what follows is a tale that is worthy of the Earthbound name, and has us questioning why Nintendo hasn't hired this man to resurrect the IP. Soundless Mountain 2. Have you put 2 and 2 together? Yes, this is a Silent Hill fan game, and much like Resident Evil Remake, Soundless Mountain 2 redesigned Silent Hill 2 as an NES game. Of course, don't expect a full retelling of the 5-hour PS2 classic. This fan game will only take you about half an hour to beat, roughly, but for what is shown here, it's a creative demake of one of the most compelling horror games ever made. If you're a Silent Hill fan, you should absolutely go and play this for yourself, even if it is super short. Rise of the Boogie... Blah. In a fighting game similar to Mortal... Blah. Blah, 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 blah. Scour the... Blah. Actually, let me redo that last bit. Blah.